Hello and welcome back to another episode of You First. That's right. It's all things you, and you. Self-care, mental well-being, personal development, and empowerment. I am your host, Shawanna Kennedy, and I get to be here with you. Y'all know I love this safe space, and you help make it so. So I just even have to say right at the top of this episode, I appreciate all of the support that you all give to this space because I'm greater because of you. Yeah. Dr. Nikita Harris. This young lady is already breaking down positive intelligence and what that looks and feels like. Whether you're a person that's in a C-suite or you're a lay person, you're a mom, you're a dad, what that looks and feels like to find your happy place, your happy space, and things that we need to be more mindful of because she's already laid out some statistics. She's given us facts, some numbers, and talked about some studies, some case studies of things that have been done, and talks about how this look and feel in our bodies. Did you know that those things, if we don't get them under control by choice or by force, I say that they affect every system in your body. That's right. I say every system in your body. So you got to make sure you check out our part 1 with this amazing doctor. Won't you help me welcome her back to the platform? Dr. Harris, get back in here. Welcome.
Glad to be back.
Yeah. I want us to go more into the saboteur. That's
all right.
This is all about the saboteur, what he looked like, what he smelled like, what he feels like.
Let me tell you something. Yeah. These saboteurs are not our friends. They are our enemies. But let me tell you, they were once our strengths. They helped us survive our childhood. But once we became adults and we moved into different environments, we no longer needed them. But guess what? We had been dealing with them so long and we knew them so well, we just took them right over into the next stage of life. And then that's where they became our saboteurs. And so the assessment that you took identified 9 saboteurs. There is actually 10 because there's one saboteur that is universal, and that is the judge saboteur. And that's our thinking, where our ability to be critical of situations, other persons, and things. What our mind tells us when our judge saboteur raises its ugly head is that we have to be tough on ourselves. We have to show tough love. We have to be critical. We have to almost be damn near perfect, right? In order to achieve success. But no. That is the mind working against you. And that is a universal saboteur that no matter who takes the assessment, we all deal with that saboteur, the judge.
Yeah, you preaching over here. Look, we was at church, they'd be like, they would say, go ahead and raise the offering. Go ahead and raise the offering because I do, like I said, I've done that. And you're talking to a past version of me. That's why I recognize it because of life and trauma and things that forced me to have to be tougher so that I could move beyond some things. I tell people, I talk about all the time, I had to stop saying get over some stuff because I know some of the things that actually honestly do happen to people. It's not just a matter of, oh, it's been long enough, it's been years to just get over it. No, it's what do we need to do to work through and move beyond it? And it's learning how to make those adjustments. And that's why I believe this conversation with you today is so impactful and powerful because it's like at this stage of our right? Whether you're Gen X, or even it's probably some Gen Zs on here, right? And then I know they got every alphabet in when it comes to who we are and how they categorize us and what that looks like. And just even empowering the new version of ourselves, right? Because a lot of us, it's like, what does this positive intelligence look like to a person who is now at a different stage in their life, right? What does that look like when you've gone and left the office for the day? You already deal with that person at the office. Now you're with yourself. So let's talk about the saboteur. The
saboteurs. If you're not aware of them, they stay with you for life. There are those little enemies, and that's why only 20. Earlier, I said in the first show that the research states that only 20% of individuals and teams actually reach their true potential, their highest self, their highest goals, is because of the saboteurs that plague them, and that really is keeping them from being not only successful, but happy and full of joy, those things that you talked about in the first show. Well, the other 9 saboteurs are, we have the judge, we have the victim, pleaser, avoider, stickler, restless, controller, high achiever, hyperachiever, hyper rational, and hyper vigilant. And these are, and some people may not show any of these. These might not be the things that sabotage them, but you can have several, you can have 2, you can have 3, but the majority of people that I see and I've coached over the years, they typically have that one, at least 8 of those saboteurs show up quite frequently in their lives, depending on what the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
So for me,
yeah,
this was very life-changing, because one of the things that I realized, one of my highest saboteurs, the thing that shows up pretty regularly for me, is the hyper-rational. And so when I read the description of the hyper-rational, rationalizes everything. Oftentimes hyper-rationals, they put logic over feelings. They are very focused on competency. They want to make sure they're the smartest and the one in the room, right? But people around hyper-rationals oftentimes are intimidated by their intense focus on rationalizing everything. Oftentimes, hyper-rationals can come off seeming very aloof, or not. People may perceive their approach to not really caring about relationships and feelings, because they have kind of put that second to the logical, rational processing. And so when I read the description, I said, yeah, that's me. Yeah, people have said that about me. But what
you
was
know
very,
what? But let's
but
stay
what
right
was the-
there, though. I gotta
Mhm.
say, because when I think about, because yes, everyone, I did. She did have me to take the assessment, and I know the hyper rational was one of my top. Where I think, I don't know if it's numbered from 1 to 10 in each one. I'm not sure. But for me, like that.
Well, you know, right now we don't want to get up with the number, get caught into the numbers, because that's a little bit more complex. But
okay,
but does it show up? But does it show up?
What I have to say, and that's where I was like, well, because I am rational. I am. However, because I believe
not rational. We're not talking about rational. We're saying hyper rational.
Yeah, hyper. Because where I may not be as hyper, because I'm definitely very rational, because I'm a solutionist, right? So for me, when I think about the assessment and part of what you were saying, if you were that list you just ran, I was like, check.
But you could be a solutionist, and hyper rational does not show up for you at all, because it doesn't sabotage you. Remember, these are enemies. So yes. To be hyper rational,
I've taken that enemy to say, no, what was maybe used to help me when I was younger, then life showed up. I've had to do my self-work, right? And because I am in this better space, I still then now take that information. Because one of the things you said about a hyper-rational person is that they can tend to intimidate, so depending on who's in the space. But one of the things you said, I was like, well, no, that's not me, because one, I love smart people, hence I love Dr. Harris, you guys. I love smart people, and because I like learning. So even if there's someone that may have achieved more and have more certificates or longer list of degrees, like that's a person that does not intimidate me. Matter of fact, I'm fascinated.
But that is not hyper rational. Hyper rational is this need, this intensity to rationalize everything. So let me give you an example. So
okay, come on.
Because there's this idea of like, if it's hyper rational, I'm rational. Everybody's rational, right? But how far do you take it in processing life?
Yeah.
Okay. So rationality becomes very important, and that is how it navigates a hyper rational life and choices and path, and even as they build relationships. Everybody's rational. You could be a solutionist and not the hyper rational, not even show up for you, right? But we have to understand that these saboteurs are developed as children to help us survive our environment. So at one time they were our strength because they help us get through whatever environment we were living in as children. But once we moved into adulthood, we no longer needed that. But we took it with us because that's the only way that we knew how to operate. So my hyper rational, I know, comes from living in a household with parents that were hyper vigilant, that had saboteurs that were hypervigilant. And when we're talking about hypervigilance, that's that saboteur where, and guess what? It doesn't even show up for me. Hypervigilance doesn't even show up for me, although I grew up in a hypervigilant household. You know why? Because I use my hyper-rational to survive the hypervigilance. And so when we're talking about hypervigilance, we're talking about people that see a threat and the danger in everything. They feel like they always have to prepare themselves for a rainy or a bad day. They know that something bad is going to happen. So they're always looking, thinking about what is going to be the thing that's going to happen. So everything in their environment is a threat. Right? So I have taken why I'm so hyper rational is probably I was a little kid, and when those fears never showed up, they were like false expectations appearing real. They probably stressed me out. And I was like, these people around here are too emotional. I can't rely on emotions to survive this. I have to rely on whether or not this makes sense, whether or not this is rational. Okay, to understand and to be able to move and navigate and to survive in that environment. So what happened was I developed this saboteur or being hyper rational. So I processed everything needed to make sense. So when I understood what that was, I started to watch my behavior. Anytime I started to feel like a negative emotion, and when we're talking about negative emotions, we're talking about stress, we're talking about anger, fear, shame, guilt. I am functioning in my surviving brain. I'm in that region of the brain. So I'm not functioning out of positive intelligence, right? And what part of the brain do I want to be in? I want to be in my thriving brain.
So how long does it take you to, once you, because you've done some work, how long does it take you to then realize? Because I know there are certain things that happen in me and I catch myself, and I'm one of the people that do talk to myself, but I tell you it's okay to even answer yourself, right? Yes, I'm one of those people. And how fast, when you feel that this is going on with you, that it takes you to then bring yourself back to yourself to realize that this is where the space that you're operating out of?
When I start to feel negative emotions, some of those emotions that I've identified, like anxiety, anger, shame, guilt, disappointment, I know that I am functioning in my surviving brain. I'm not going to be successful in that region of my brain. I need to move into the region of the thriving brain. That's where we find success, and that's where happiness, compassion, love, joy lives. And so when I start to feel negative emotions, the first thing I ask myself is, what saboteur is at play here? And how I understand what saboteur is at play, I start thinking about my mindset and what my mind is telling me. And based upon each one of those saboteurs, it's very good in telling you what things that you're thinking at that moment. And so you'll be able to say, oh, I'm in my oh, that's the pleasing saboteur. Oh, that's the stickler saboteur. Oh, that's the controlling saboteur. Oh, that's the hypervigilant saboteur. Oh, that's the avoider saboteur. Based upon what your mind is telling you, you are now able to identify what saboteur is at play. And the thing that you want to do is you want to identify it, you want to intercept, and you want to move yourself into your thriving brain where in that thriving brain, we have what we call sage powers. And that's a part of the PQ, the positive intelligence operating system, that we have some powers that we need to tap into that will help us move through this difficult, this challenging, with not a negative mindset, but with a positive mindset.
I love it. Don't y'all love it? Don't y'all love Dr. Harris? Don't y'all love Dr. Harris? Make sure y'all follow her on all social media platforms. She is amazing. This is good stuff. This is really good stuff. It actually is needed because
let's talk about one of your, just pick one saboteur that you want to talk about. That we haven't really talked about.
Okay, so let me see. Let me think. Because I was listening at all of the things that you were saying.
Let's talk about let's talk about, if I remember correctly, I want to talk about, I think one of yours was Stickler, but then after we talk about Stickler, I want to talk about hyperachiever. And the reason why I want to talk about hyperachiever is because I get a lot of pushback from hyperachievers. But Stickler. So the Stickler saboteur is the need for perfection, order. And everybody says, well, that's good. Everybody needs order, but it's taken too far.
Yeah.
It's taken too far.
The stickler is definitely one for me. It's not about perfection, because I have, through my own work, realized that done is better than perfect, especially being a business owner, entrepreneur. That's why some of my work really come into play, not just for me personally, but in what I get to do. So I do believe that done is better than perfect, but being a stickler and really trying to operate from a space of...
You're a recovering stickler. You're a recovering perfectionist.
I am, y'all. I am. Okay.
And it's still showing up a little bit. It's still showing up. It may not be as it was 10 or 15 years ago.
It's peekable. Your girl. Look, she got me sweating over here up under these lights. Because... And I realized that, and that's one of the things that I do, how you were saying, and you were calling the names out, is it a pleaser, is it this, and this. One of the things, if I'm feeling or doing some self-talk in my brain, or I'm speaking to myself on the inside, I say, no, what is that? Where is that coming from? Those are the two questions that I ask myself. Like, I haven't said, oh, that's the pleaser side, right? I don't say those terms or use those words. I say, oh, what is that? Where is that coming from? What is the root cause of that? Because that's me, again, being my own, I don't want to say my own fixer, but because of my work and what helps me with other people, what makes me understand people and practice better emotional intelligence is being able to not only identify with myself and then realize when I'm talking to other people to save that space to, one, grant grace, but also remember that everybody is going through something. Everybody still is working on something, and everybody has a need. So I really try to do that for myself, so that that judge is not the first thing that's out the gate. Like, the judge is not the first thing that's out the gate. I try to say, and when I'm really being present, let me just say that too. When I'm being present and fully present, it allows me to listen and hear and receive differently, which means that it allowed me to say, okay, where's that coming from? And to not take stuff personal. One of the things when I think about emotional intelligence, positive intelligence, is to be mindful to not take things personal. Here's the catch for me. I'll just say for me, is to, even if it's intended to be personal, I don't have to receive it that way. And so those are things that I do to keep the order, to keep the control within myself, because I know that I can only control me.
And so what's so beautiful about the PQ system is, and that is very helpful and beneficial to leaders, to the average Jane or Joe, is that it gives it context and meaning. And so now when you're feeling those things, you know exactly what exact saboteur that it is and how it's impacting people around you, because each saboteur impacts people differently.
Yeah. And
how is it, where is it rooted from? And I'm a why person, because I'm a hyper rational. I always want to know, where is it rooted from? And
But
so,
you know, people
so you
hate the
give,
why.
so now
People
you're,
hate the why.
excuse me?
They hate the why, because why is that, depending on who you're dealing with, that's them having to now do more work, and they don't want to answer that question.
Or just to even understand where it come from. Where did it come from? I never really thought, I knew these things about me, but I never really thought about where it came from. What was it rooted in?
But
Right?
that's why those are, when I said, like you said, you've identified, and this assessment definitely allowed me to look at stuff and put it in different categories. But that's why I guess, you know, for me and some of my work, that's why those are my things to say, what is this? Where is this coming from? What causes, what happened to make me feel this way or think this way?
People to understanding why they do feel those negative emotions,
Yeah.
where they're coming from, what their brain is saying to them, how it's sabotaging them from actually reaching their goal. And most importantly, how did it develop? How did I become this way? Right? And all of those to me are really key in making long-lasting differences, changing outcomes. Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, we're, you know, not just success, but long-lasting happiness. And no matter what's going on around you, no matter how challenging the situation is, you can still look at every difficulty as a gift and an opportunity. Think about that. When you reach or you enter, you know, is there instability in your company, or there's a big change on a team that you're leading, right? To think and shift your mindset from the negative, this is pretty bad. And this is not good. It's not looking good. But what is the gift and opportunity in this that I can turn it around and make it a situation where everybody thrives and everybody comes out on top? A lot of people can't do that.
This is true.
When they're faced with stress and uncertainty and difficulty. And that's what positive intelligence is about. How do you shift from your negative mindset to your positive mindset to still reach your goal and to maintain happiness while you're going through challenging times?
I love it. Don't y'all love her? What it makes me also think about, and now because you've done such extensive work and it's a part of what you get to do in organizations, do you find that when you're just talking to the average Joe or Jane, where you bring this into play without them even realizing it? Not that you're judging them, but then you're looking, and then you're saying, you can kind of see stuff on people when you're saying, you know, like, I see that on them. How do you control that part of you where you're just like, okay, no, I'm not gonna assess them without them even realizing that they're being assessed?
I think for me, understanding this system and understanding and done the study, it makes me more empathetic towards others.
Yeah.
And it oftentimes makes me give them more grace. So that's the other benefit to understanding positive intelligence, because and it also gives me empathy for myself, because in order to be empathetic towards others and to give others grace, it starts with yourself. If you cannot give yourself empathy, if you cannot give yourself grace, you can't give it to others. And so that's important to me as a leader, as a daughter, as a family member, as a friend. When I'm dealing with people in challenging situations, is that I give them empathy and grace. And one of the things that you said earlier, oftentimes I don't, become upset or offended, because you know what I say? Ooh, that Stickler saboteur is rising up. You know what I mean? It's rearing its ugly head. Oh, the controller saboteur. I understand that it is not about me. It is about the person and the things that they're thinking, or they're allowing themselves to move into a negative mind frame. It becomes less about me and more about them. And so it allows me to give people grace. It allows me to give more empathy, but I have to give it to myself first. And so that has been a huge game changer for me as I navigate through this stage of life.
That's powerful. That's powerful because it is. It's needed. It's needed. You said it so well, and it is. And I just really, really, really wish that it is actually a prayer. It's a hope that people grasp a hold of things like this sooner than later. I hate when, hate is such a strong word. I dislike when you have to reach a certain age before it kind of click, right?
Just think about if we introduce our children to these concepts very early, right?
And you know what? I am so grateful because of, it's kind of like we teach our kids a whole bunch of things, right? We want them, any parent would want their children to go further, do more than they've ever done. Any parent that I know that just want their children to thrive, not just exist or survive. They want them to thrive. And being able to do these things for myself, it does make me a better person for my family. I'll say it because I do. I have 2 older children, but I also have a minor child. And we often say it too, with her having 2 older parents. I say she actually gets the best of us because of certain things and certain stuff that we've not only gone through, but the work, the mental work, that back end work, the mindset mastery, as you talk about, that mindset mastery piece, to then say, we have to be okay, to actually even help me understand. I have a Gen Z. I have a Gen Z. And I said, you got a Gen Z. You got a Gen Z with a Gen X. Come on. That's a whole nother show, right? A Gen X with a Gen Z. And to be able to have those conversations to help her even understand some of life processes, because their thoughts are different than ours. You already know kids, it's not even in the milk because she don't drink milk. Be like, is it in the water? Right? Like, what's going on to help me be able to be more empathetic, to be able to understand the plight and the things that their world is different. She was a kid that spent 2 years at home because of the pandemic, right? That in itself was a whole something and did something. So being able to do that, and that's why we have to be in this space that I say you first. It has to be about you because it affects everything we do. And if you don't know who you are, you can't know what you need. That's why making yourself a priority has to be a priority. And of course, I'll say it for the record. Y'all already know in this space, in this place, it's never above our creator. But then there is him, but then there is us. And oftentimes, we make it about so many other things, so many other people, and we forget the gift that we are. And so in that, having conversations with yourself, Dr. Harris, to be able to say, we do need to understand that right and that left side of our brain. We do need to be more in tune and tapped into survival and thrive, and what that looks like for us to thrive.
Absolutely.
Thrive.
Absolutely. And understanding that some of the benefits of positive intelligence is that it helps you become a better parent. It helps you become a better colleague, a better leader. It helps in your performance. It actually increases your emotional intelligence. It helps you manage conflict better. It helps you become more creative, and it helps you in your overall relationship. And like I said, it helps you in terms of your wellness and your well-being. A high level of positive intelligence has been directly connected through numerous studies that it helps you live longer. Yeah. And we all want to live longer, and we all want to not only just live, but we want to thrive and we want to be healthy. And so understanding when we're in our survival brain as opposed to our thriving brain can really help us achieve our goals. Because that's where that region of the brain where we're thriving, that's where creativity lies. That's where innovation, that's where happiness and joy, all of those positive emotions, all of those things that we really need to be successful, that is the region of the brain that we should be operating in, even during the most difficult and challenging moments.
Don't y'all love her? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Nikita.
No
for being in this space. We're definitely going to have you back.
Each one teach one, right?
It needs to be that needs to be so. You just enjoy her. Dr. Harris is amazing. Make sure you follow her on all social media platforms. This space, it's about you. It's about you. I do what I do to help you be better, to help us grow, right? Being able to have individuals, experts to come in and to share, to help us all. I'm grateful for that. Thank you again for your support. Thank you for following. Thank you for sharing. If you have not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you are following us on all social media platforms. Show us some love because I'm excited that I get to be here with you. And remember, do something today that your future self can thank you for. Shawanna Kennedy, thank you for joining me for another episode of You First, and I'll see you again next time. This episode is brought to you by Kennedy Media and Entertainment, your premier video productions and digital visibility partner. Working with business owners just like you to be seen, heard, and paid by elevating your brand with high-impact video content, online visibility strategies, and expert social media management. Ready to stand out in your industry, on and off camera? Contact Kennedy Media today, and let's turn your message into a movement. Because visibility isn't optional, it's essential. Contact KennedyMediaLLC.com, KennedyMediaLLC.com, and let's boost your brand's visibility. It's time for you to be seen, heard, and known for your expertise. Contact us today.